Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Black Emoji here, and I'm here to discuss on why Cell. Yes, Cell is my favorite character. We're here to discuss why he's my favorite character of all time on Dragon Ball Z, and I will explain the reasons why. Cell. He is my favorite character because he made the Cell Saga very, very popular. Like, he made a saga very popular. He was a total badass. And he just, he just took control of everything until the very end. You know what I mean? Cell, and he had, like, such a unique role, and he didn't just have one fighting style that was, a repeated fighting style over and over, and you can kind of like guess what it is. He had all the Z fighters fighting styles. So if he never would have died when Team Gohan defeated him, doing the father-son Kamehameha, and all that other stuff, just imagine how strong he could have become. Imagine if he would have trained for many, many years and all this other stuff. Just put that into perspective of how strong he would have been. Because, all the Z fighters, attacks and cells and all that stuff, just imagine, like that's a powerful being right there. And we also gotta remember, if it wasn't for Cell, none of this Team Gohan stuff and the future Trunks arc and all this stuff would have never happened. There's major paradoxes to this. If he would have never killed the Trunks and stole the time machine and did what he did to go back to the loophole of the timeline that he created himself, thus making the saga more interesting and, absorbing Android 17 and 18 and becoming the perfect being that he is. The three forms that you see is just one of them is his beginning stage. This second one is him absorbing Android 17, and then he absorbed Android 18, and then he became the perfect being. I don't know. It's just something about him that I just grew to like. Like he's just very, laid back. He's chill. He has just qualities to him that I like. I'm not a Goku fan, not a Gohan fan. I'm a pure-hearted Cell fan. And I don't know if there's any of those out there, but I'm one of them. Now I'm gonna just give y'all an example. If Cell would have never stole Trunks' time machine, it would have been a whole different outcome. But I'm going to give y'all an example on why Cell is by far my favorite character and how he changed everything. Basically, it's Cell that is because we have so many arcs and Dragon Ball Super and stuff. If it wasn't for Cell, that would have never existed. If he would have never killed Trunks and took the time machine, who's to say how the sagas would have ended up? There wouldn't have been no Buu saga. There wouldn't have been no Gohan, Fidel, none of that. There wouldn't have been no Deborah, none of that. And then there definitely would have been no BoJack, because in other timelines there's like a dairy timeline that in the video that I've seen. And BoJack wouldn't have been there, because in order for him to be there, I forgot, something had to been destroyed, and because Cell went back with Goku and exploded King Kai's planet, it caused him to be unleashed. So BoJack wouldn't have been born. So and BoJack is I think he was a great enemy for the Z fighters. And then of course, people's popular favorite, and of course it's going to be on Dragon Ball's Universe 2. We've all been wished for the Gogeta versus Janemba. Yes, guys, I said it. If it wasn't for Cell, Janemba would have never been born, and Gogeta never would have happened. So we got to put it in perspective. If it wasn't for Cell creating all this sagas and all these foes and you know, just giving us the time and everything to, you know, just make everything. And of course, let me remind you guys, the new arc that's in Dragon Ball Super. You know, the Trunks coming back to warn us about Black Goku, Goku Black. That arc would have never happened either. You know, we gotta just look at these things, you know, and you know, there's other sagas that happen too. If I'm forgetting in this video, but there's other sagas that happen as well, like the Dragon Ball Super Tournament arc, you know, Broly. I'm pretty sure Broly wouldn't have been around either. Like, there's just so many, you know, possibilities that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Cell. You know, so if it wasn't for Cell, like, we have to, like, literally take it to perspective. If it wasn't for Cell, you know, half of the sagas wouldn't even exist. You know what I mean? Like, he created more of the bad guys and more to the saga. Like, he just added more to the plate, you know? So, you know, thanks Cell for all that. And also, he's just my favorite character. There's just something about him I like. Him having all the Z Fighters powers just makes me like him even more. You know, he's just by far my favorite characters. But now, for those who wanted to know why, you know, that's why. You know, Cell, I think he's just a pure badass. You know, I don't know. It's just something about him. But, yeah, guys, this is just me talking about on why Cell is my favorite character. And why he'll always be my Dragon Ball Z all-time great favorite characters. He's by far my #1 favorite. But I'm gonna end this video, because I'm gonna end this video, though, because I gotta get some sleep. As you can tell, I'm stubborn in my words a little bit, but I'm a little tired. But I gotta get some sleep and wake up in the morning. But I'm gonna end this video. This is me talking about why Cell is my favorite character on Dragon Ball Z Reaction. As always, punch that subscribe button in the face, stalk my likes, and share with your friends. Till next time, this your boy Black Emoji. Signing out. Peace.